Oh shoot. The lens is fogging up. This happens when you go from the air conditioning to tropical humidity. All right, garden tour, backyard. This will be quick because we're running out of light. But I just came out our backyard. And we'll get little cameos from our new family members as well. Is that working? I hope it's working. Yeah, it's acting like it's working. Okay, I walked out the backyard, or the back patio. Quick view from the extreme back of the property, back towards the little house. All right, there's the little blue house. There's one of the new family members, that's Hugo. There's Teddy over there. I don't know, so there'll be two backyard garden videos because there's a lot going on. So, okay, there's Eva's studio over there. These came with the house, 1, 2, 3 planter boxes. They're quickly disintegrating, and we've learned that growing any sort of vegetables here is a really, really tough task because of the heat. And the growing season is really short. It's basically only December, January, maybe a little bit of February. And yeah, it's just a super short growing season for any sort of vegetables because of the heat. So we're gonna get rid of these, and we're just gonna using them as nurseries now. So we've got like rescued plants. That's a coconut that I've planted, another coconut that I've planted, a lot of rescue plumerias. You can see this plumeria is just started to flower. This is I think we pulled that out of a neighbor's trash because they're super easy to propagate. Some of these are plumerias we brought from Texas. There's one back there that actually doesn't look very good. Rescue bromeliads from the neighbor that we were just putting in this box, kind of short term. But a lot of kind of rescues, what I call rescues, like there's a couple of little palm that I dug out from an empty yard next door. This thing's called a boricola or a schefflera, just propagated, like it was in the garbage, and you just stick it in the ground and it propagates itself. All sorts of rescues. These little flowers, they just pop up everywhere. These are not planted, they're everywhere. So we have 3 planter boxes, but we're gonna get rid of them. We don't use them. Here's an example of plumeria. This was just a rescue broken off, but you stick it in the ground and it's got new growth. And, just so resilient. Look, all the plants here. Hey! Get out of there. Okay, so Hugo is eating a guava. Oh, we got a guava. We have to put in bags because the squirrels eat the guava. Yeah, oops. No, Hugo. So that's Hugo. Hi, Hugo. We think he's a Bocce, Boston Chihuahua. There's a guava tree. This little guy here. The squirrels love the guava. There's a little immature one, and in the bag was a mature one. Tastes like bubble gum. And this tree just produces a lot of fruit, but we're having a hard time with the squirrels. The middle of the guava is a lot of little tiny seeds on the inside, and the squirrels love it. They just love it. This is a papaya we just planted a couple months ago. It's taken off gangbusters. I suspect it'll be double that size in this time next year. Behind me, the back property line is all bamboo. It's going to grow up and fill in. You can see behind there's a couple of sable palms, Norfolk pine, sable palm. Mixed in there's a banyan that's kind of choking out some stuff. You can actually maybe even see some of the roots of the banyan choking one of the palms. Another Norfolk pine. The Norfolk pines love it here. Teddy, come on, buddy. Come on, Teddy. Get out of there. There's Teddy. Real tough life for sure. Some behavior issues, but we'll touch on the dogs in a separate video. But yeah, they're awesome. Good to have new members of the family. Hugo, the little Boston Chihuahua mix, is a jailbreaker. What are you doing, Teddy? What are you doing? So back here we got what's called a corn plant, getting way too much sun. These are classic house plants in the north. This is called a red latania. It's a palm that is red. It's really cool. One of the only palms that actually has red stalks. Pretty rare. Back here in a pot, that's another rescue. It's called a cardboard plant, or cardboard palm, but not a palm. Another cycad. We have a compost right there. So we compost a lot of stuff. This is just a dirt pile, and this is work in progress pile. Long story, more on that later. Eva's studio. Some Texas cactuses that were rescued. A lot of grass. I already told you the story about the grass. This is we just planted this a couple of months ago. It's called a foxtail palm. It is native to Australia, not native to here. But love the look. Love the kind of the bushy, looks like a tail of a fox. It's awesome. Planter boxes that we will get rid of. This looks like a palm tree, but it's not. It's actually kale, like vegetable kale. That is like, hey, there's Hugo. Say hi, Hugo. Yeah, it looks like a palm tree, but it's not. Back here, something else we just planted. It's called a traveler's palm. Again, not a palm, but known as a traveler. It's actually more of a bird of paradise. It's called the traveler's palm because if you cut the, doesn't that look neat? Doesn't the stem look neat? If you cut off here, it holds a lot of water. And you can actually, like, if you were lost in the jungle, you could chop those off and drink from the stems of the traveler's palm, which is actually a form of bird of paradise, not a palm tree. This little guy is called a triangle palm. Really, really unique. It grows in a triangular shape. You can kind of see on the base, it grows triangle. So it's called a triangle palm. Back in this corner, this will be a bed. We're going to make all of this a bed back here. But we're kind of starting simple. This is a rubber tree. This is a transplant from Texas. We brought this all the way from Texas. Had a rough go at the beginning, went from full shade to full sun, but is doing okay. Bird of paradise. That is called a fiddle leaf fig. It's a form of fig. Also getting a little cooked by the sun, but they do really, really, really well here, so I'm not worried about it. It will pop up eventually. Bird of paradise. This is a coconut. Go figure. Yeah, we just put this in at the beginning of the summer. Obviously getting a lot of support, especially now that it's storm season, but it's just a spectacular tree. We put 2 of these in. We love them. Tropical vibe. Got coconuts. These guys are obviously like viable coconuts. They're full of water and just really cool. This is known as a Spanish dagger. It's more of a cactus. Well, it's not. It's more like an aloe or an agave. I think more appropriately an agave. It's a form of agave. That's it. Say hi, Hugo. That's Hugo. An agave. And this is a rescue. So our neighbor has a massive one of the trees, and he was chopping off limbs and pitched it in the garbage, and we picked it up and stuck it in the ground. In pots here, kind of struggling citrus that we brought from Texas. I think a lemon on the right and orange, or lemon on the left and orange on the right. Really, really struggling. They hate the salt air. They hate it. And the water has a lot of salt in it as well. Another citrus, also a transplant from Texas, that is just not getting the nutrients. You can see the kind of the striping on the leaves. It's I think it's phosphorus deficient, and I've just been feeding the hell out of this, and it just keeps dying back and dying back. Ditto, another citrus from Texas. Oh, this one looks like it's getting eaten. We're just fighting to try to keep these citrus alive. We're not doing very good at it. Not a lot of citrus here, believe it or not. Too close to the ocean. They hate the salt. This is called a spindle palm. Yeah, classic Home Depot purchase, 15-gallon bucket. This is a bed that I'm working on, so you can actually see that there's like a real flower bed here. These guys in the middle, called a crinum lily, just giant lilies. Their flowers are just spectacular. You can see right here, there's the flower pod for this guy. A little bird of paradise there. It is a transplant. I think it's actually called a false bird of paradise. This is a majesty palm, classic houseplant in the north, sold at Home Depot as a houseplant, but they are happy in zone 10 and will grow up to 40 feet tall with a huge, huge crown. So yeah, another 20 years. Back there, that's a transplanted, propagated Dracaena, or Dracaena. Another transplanted Dracaena there. These crinum lilies. They're hiding some of the piping for our irrigation system. So that's a well. I don't know how deep the well is, but that's sucking water out of the ground. Oh, Hugo's chasing a lizard. Did you get him, buddy? Hope not. Transplanted aloe from Texas. All the aloe here came from Texas. It just keeps going and going and going. Hugo, don't dig, buddy. So one corner of the backyard, that's the gate to the front. This is our banana corner. So hoping that slowly but surely the bananas will just take this over entirely. I think there's at least 2 different types of bananas in here, maybe 3. We bought one from a guy down the street. Hugo! He's digging after a lizard. At least probably 2 or 3 different types of bananas here, so we're looking forward to see what they actually produce. But this is kind of what they do. They replicate from the bottom. I suspect that in another year, just this whole corner will just be all bananas. And producing a lot of fruit. They're prolific here. Prolific. And this guy's pretty happy. Believe it or not, watched a couple of videos and people swear by peeing on Hugo! No! Peeing on bananas. So I've been peeing on my bananas, and it seems to be working. These guys were here. These are more these false bird of paradise. This is a really old planter box here. These guys are called oyster plants. They are just replicate. Another plumeria. This actually came from Texas as well. It's about to flower. This back here is my little work room. That's my little window. It's kind of dark in there now. Sorry we're losing sunlight. There's the grill. There's where I grill. Little patio area back there. It's probably a little too dark to see. We'll do it in another video, but I'll probably end it here. Well, okay. So looking this way, the 3 planter boxes back there. I've been walking around with my bag of guavas. I'm going to put my guava bag down. There's a whole other section that I'm working over here. We'll do that in another update. And I'll do this in another update as well. There's stuff working on there. But here was a bed that was here. The only things that were really here. Hugo! No! He's digging. Dude, don't dig. I didn't mean to. Sorry. Didn't mean to dig. Hi, I'm Hugo. Hi. There is a pet door, and he's figured it out, but the other one is not. So Hugo has to go in and outside. Anyway, there were 3 planter boxes, 1, 2, 3 back there, but that's pretty much it. That palm wasn't there. That big palm wasn't there. Nothing was. The only palm that was here was this guy here, and the big sucker there. So there were 2. Well, and that palm by the house. But in terms of like planting areas, like there was only this, and there was a planting area over there. They don't look anything like they don't look anything now like they did then. These palms are Washingtonia something something is the scientific name, aka California fan or Mexican fan. Grow super tall. They can grow 80 feet and up. The one we've got over to the left there is probably close to 70 feet, 60, 70 feet. Woodpeckers love it. Believe it or not, we've got a lot of woodpeckers here. And they're what's called self-pruning. The branches just kind of naturally fall off on their own, which is nice. Because these guys, the sable here, not. You got to cut off the old branches, otherwise they'll just kind of just clump up. But the Washingtonias, the two that we have, are self-pruning. The coconut is not self-pruning, but it produces a lot of coconuts, so we don't care. Yeah, this planter bed was one of the first things that we kind of focused on. It was mostly empty. There was some shrubs, some really kind of like stupid evergreen shrubs that made no sense in Florida, and we pulled them all out. And that's a hibiscus there. This rock rose. This is a rescue we brought from Texas. It's called the Pride of Barbados. That's getting eaten alive by bugs. Bromeliad rescue, plumeria rescue. I don't know if it came from Texas or if we pulled it out of a garbage here or pulled it out of the side of the road. Who knows? Entirely possible. Another Pride of Barbados. Will you call Hugo? Eva, call Hugo. Well, no, bring him into the patio, please.
Where is he?
He's out here with me. Another hibiscus. Another plumeria, bromeliad, rock rose. The little white flowers, they show up. They just pop up. I forget what they're called. I mean, you pay money for those in Edmonton. I know. I forget what they're called. Another bird of paradise. This is right here is a little baby Washingtonia. So this is a baby of the big guy. These guys can grow 3 feet a year, so he will not be short for long. Another bird of paradise, rock rose. Back here is a foxtail palm. Again, native to Australia, not native here. The Washingtonia, not native to here either, but quite happy. This palm here is what's called a Christmas palm, Adonidia palm, also native to Australia. It's called a Christmas palm because it produces this red fruit, giant clumps of red, and the red and green, so people call it a Christmas palm. The mulch is cypress. I'm not crazy about it. It's lost its color. It started as kind of a pretty red, but it's now kind of really bland. So maybe I'll switch out the mulch. I don't know, but the soil here is sand. I mean, it's sand. Literally, I'll show you what I mean. I mean, like, it's just powdery white sand. So mulch is necessary and fertilizing is necessary. Oh, by the way, this is a native little orchid. It's like a bulb. They were popping up all over the place. Flower is really, really too small, but it was a bulb, and they were all over. And so we pulled up a few of the bulbs, and we figured out there's some sort of Chinese orchid that's invasive in Florida. But saved a couple of them. The flowers are really, really tiny, really dainty. Probably not going to see very well here. But anyway, and it's a bulb, ground-based orchid. So that'll be it for garden tour number 2. We'll do another garden tour. I'll cover all these other areas over here, but the idea eventually is probably to have some sort of pool in here, some sort of water feature in here, and maybe some sort of patio area in here, but we don't know. We got a lot of space, and yeah, don't know. I was thinking maybe eventually that over on the right-hand side of the studio that we put in a bathroom. It doesn't have a bathroom today. And there's a pad. It's a, I want to say 10 by 10 pad that's ready to go. We just have to figure out septic. The water, we could run the well water, the well that we've got. It could be a source, or we could just run a line from the house. It's just really the septic, because the septic we've got is a 1964 septic. Tank is actually right under the window under there. But that's the bigger challenge. But I'm thinking about a bathroom because that was 200 square feet, but it did not get counted to our appraisal to the house. So we paid $400 a square foot for the house. So, you know, you can do the math. That's $80,000 worth of building that was counted 0 on our appraisal. And if I put a bathroom on it, let's say I spend 20 grand on a bathroom, I could spend 20 grand to get 100,000 in appraised value. So if the interest rates ever go down and we refi, that's money in the bank. So I don't know, thinking about it. So we're thinking about that versus the utility, maybe some sort of pool here, which seems a little silly given we're a 3-minute walk to the beach. But we want to create more of just kind of a whole tropical vibe back here. And having some sort of water feature, and especially one that you could actually get in, just seems to make sense to us, even if we're not massive kind of pool freaks, which we're not. Neither of us are, but we like the water, and having the water close. So, yeah. The previous owner kind of made an interesting little path here. It's this different kind of grass. This is the St. Augustine grass that is kind of brittle and hard on the feet, and this is more of a golf course grass. It's something called zoysia. But we've got a mole problem. You can see here, moles. We've got a really, really bad mole problem. All these little patches here. I mean, it's just here. Moles. We don't have enough snakes. Mom, cover your ears. If we had maybe some more snakes, it'd be better. We don't have enough to get all the moles. Pest guy said, hey, best thing you could do to get rid of moles is to kill all the grubs in your lawn. Then the moles won't be around. It's like, okay, but then, I don't know. It doesn't seem to make any sense to us. So, running out of light. End of garden tour number 2. We'll do one more garden tour where we will cover that side, because I've been working a lot over there. A lot. And that's at the back of the house where I've been working a lot. A lot of work. I've been working a lot everywhere. Like that's new. All that stuff back. Everything is pretty much new. Everything you see other than big palms. Well, the big palm. But that's it. Yeah. Signing off for now. Another update to come soon. Goes without saying, it'd be great if you guys could come visit someday. Love to share this with you. Bye.